Hello. Can everyone see me?
Can you all
hear me? It's time to make something pretty. So lately in the world of social media, there are a few different challenges going around. One of them being people are recreating their favorite works of art. Another being the Met Gala challenge, where you choose a designer and a dress that you loved and recreate it using your own materials. So I wanted to do something a little bit similar, where I take one of my dream dresses and try to recreate it with my own skills and my own materials and prayers to the dress gods. So the dress that I chose for this is one of my favorite things in the entire world. This dress right here. This dress was created by designer Sylvie Facon. Facon. No, that's not any better. Anyways, it's by this wonderful French designer. I feel like there are just certain garments that I will see and it is embedded into my brain forever because of the amount of pure aesthetic. What I want to do is try to recreate this, of course putting my own spin on it, but for the most part sticking around the same sort of design as Sylvie's. Of course, all credit goes to her. I am just merely a small, lowly cosplayer trying to recreate something that I truly admire. I am but an ant. So as you can see, the premise of this dress is that it is a beautiful gown, and the corset bodice top part looks like it's made out of the spines of old books. So we're gonna try to do that. And also hers has sort of like a heart nipple. I think we might skip that part. We're gonna try. As for materials, EVA foam. For the rest of the dress, I wanted to stick with this sort of gauzy material. What I did was I ordered muslin fabric for the base skirt, and then since I wanted that sort of gauzy material, I ordered tobacco cloth, which you often see in wedding decorations and such merriment. The good thing about this is that I'm not going to worry too much about fraying. In fact, the more it frays, the better, because it kind of gives off that fantasy vibe. So those are the materials. Now before we get started, today's video does have a sponsor, and I'm excited because it is literally my favorite sponsor in the entire world, and that is Huullloo. So to talk a little bit about that, here is sponsor Rachel. Thank you. Huullloo is a monthly subscription box. Basically, you are a private detective, and every box is new documents, new clues, and you have a goal for each box. Figure out what the murder weapon is, eliminate a suspect. It is so fun. Last time I did this, my best friend Tommy came over and we were just sleuths for the night, and we made a bunch of notes. This time I called him up on Skype and we had our virtual detective agency. Detective Tommy? The fictional murder that's happening right now is called Curtain Call, which I am in love with. So basically it is about a murder that happened in 1934. A theater actress called Viola Vane disappears and is murdered, and you have to figure out who done it. So basically what it looks like is you get a box per month that looks like this. You open it up and there is an envelope that has your clues for that month. And let me tell you right now, the level of freaking detail that they go into with this is insane. They clearly put so much thought into immersiveness and making you feel like you're actually looking over old documents. They even give you props. How cute would this be for like business cards? And it's actually metal. These boxes start at $25 a month, which is the same price as going out to eat. It's a nice activity to sit down and know that you're going to spend a few hours on it. So if you go to Huullloo, you can use my code RachelM for 20% off of your first order. Welcome back. So I think first things first for this project, we are going to head over to design phase, figure out what the heck we're doing. So much like Sylvie's design, the corset will be made out of several different book bindings. And as far as the sleeves, I think I'm going to take some of that gauze fabric and make frilly sleeves, which is a little bit different than what she does. How do I make these not look like fingers? And then as far as the skirt, mine is not going to be quite as long as hers. Mine is going to be like almost like a ballet version of hers, I guess you could say. Base skirt made of muslin. And then over that, we will have the more gauzy fabric. Now obviously the issue of bust size kind of comes into play here, so I think what I'm going to do is wear my stays that I made for my Starbucks dress, just so it kind of gives the foam a little bit more opportunity to lay a bit more flat. I think today I am going to focus on these skirts. I have these two patterns, and I think I'm just going to use one of these to make the skirts, and I think it's going to be this one, just because this woman looks like an 80s kindergarten teacher version of me. It is my density. Ideally, I would get these done today, and it shouldn't be too difficult, but there's one thing I've learned with sewing. It is that you must never utter the words that a sewing project will be easy, because they're listening. So the pattern turned out to be only two pieces, the skirt and the waistband. Look at all that surface area for Frodo to run across and rip. Oh, pray for me. So as I was just cutting out these pattern pieces, crawling around as one does, my knees started to hurt. But then I remember Nick got me a specific gift to help with this not that long ago. Okay, so as you can see, we have the two skirt pieces and, well, okay, that didn't work. The waistband. This was definitely the easiest pattern I have ever cut out. It was literally two pieces. Super freaking easy. Basically, the only thing I have to do to make this skirt is put the skirt sections together, attach the waistband, put an elastic around the waist, and then it's pretty much done. I think instead of finishing this skirt right away, do the same thing for the tobacco cloth, because I just put my knee pads on. Let's try these babies out. So cushiony. I'm sweaty. This obviously isn't a perfect matchup of the two sides. For me, it's good enough. Also, 10 out of 10 would recommend. Matchmaker, matchmaker, make me a match. Find me a find, catch me a catch. As I started to see what the two layers would look like, I realized it just wasn't doing it for me, so I took the tobacco cloth fabric and just draped it over on top, using the gathers at the waist, and I liked it much more. I gathered the top layer under the waistband and pinned it so that when I sewed, it would be secure. Then I threaded the elastic through the waistband. Now what I think I want to do is go in and make the bottom of this even messier, fraying it, sewing at it a bit. I have a couple pieces of these sandpaper blocks. And I'm gonna try to purposely make it look kind of ratty. As far as damn, mic leaking. As far as progress, I will show you what I have so far. So this is the skirt so far. As you can see, very full. And then it has the outer layer that is weathered at the bottom. One of the instances that I wish I had an airbrush so I could do sort of like a gradient of color, but I don't have one. So I think I'm gonna stop there for today. I think tomorrow will be kind of the big day of working because I have to do the corset. Might be kind of tough because I have to wait for things to dry and plasti dipping and that kind of stuff. So it's gonna be a little tricky timing wise, but I think hopefully I can get it all done tomorrow. I will see you first thing bright and early tomorrow morning. Good morning. It is bright and early the next day. And like I said, today I will be focusing on the actual book corset, which I am quite honestly a little nervous about. Pondered it in the late night hours of trying to fall asleep last night. So what I think I'm gonna do is kind of just cut out a bodice type looking pattern piece out of foam and then sketch out where the books are gonna go. Wish me luck. Foam can be a bitch. Give it a shot. To make the bodice, I first figured out a guesstimation of how much foam I needed. Then cut it out and realized it looked like a trash can dress.
I'm the trash man.
I tried to heat form it to my torso, but was really struggling, so I ended up cutting it into a bunch of different smaller pieces.
One eternity later.
That took a million years. It's not great. It is not quite as flattering as I would like. Working with foam can be a bitch. You hear that? To save time, I think I'm just gonna stop where I have it right now. Went in and I just reinforced all the seams with hot glue. Now it's time to figure out how the heck I'm going to do the books. Initially, when planning this project, I was thinking that I would be able to heat form it to my body so I wouldn't have any of these seams, but I do. So what I'm gonna do first is sand down all of these harsh bumps. And then what I think I'm gonna do is take sheets of craft foam, which are the really skinny foam sheets that you can get in the kids section at a craft store. Just kind of line them up and then sand them down to make them look a little rounded, add the details, plasti dip this baby. And we will see how that works. I don't know. I have a lot of work to do, and this took up the majority of my day, so there we go. To attach the foam strips, I used contact cement on both surfaces. I also cut out the little spine details out of foam and just hot glued those on. Then I sanded, trying to even out all the messy areas as best I could to give that rounded appearance. Sanding foam is very messy and gave me that grimace chic. Do I look good? Do you think this is what Bane looks like when he comes home and gets in his PJs and takes off his mask? Look at it! What I'm doing right now is warming up some plasti dip so that I can spray this. I think the plasti dip will help with some of the bumpiness. It's a bit Tim Burton-y right now, but kinda don't mind it. While that's drying, I think I'll work on the sleeves and then we will get to painting. The sleeves, I made this sort of lip shape and cut out the two pieces. Then I gathered it on the inside of the shoulder strap, pinned it to make it secure, repeated for the other side, and then sewed. I painted the books with normal oil acrylics. trying to stick with similar color palettes and looking at my own bookshelves for reference. Then came shadowing and the gold details. I asked you guys for fake book names on Instagram, so I picked out some of my favorites. Making a hard enough impression, I was able to rub gold leaf over the letters, and it was super satisfying. I ended up using some glue to help it stick to the bottom. Pretty sure I'll be finding little flecks of gold around my house for the next 6 months. She is done. Are you sick of my Disney princess poses yet? It's all I know how to do, okay. So as usual, I figured I'd do a little wrap up. What went well, what didn't go well. All in all, I am very happy with how it came out. I think that it's very theatrical, which is definitely what I was going for. It is very different from the inspiration I used from Sylvie. I kind of like that it's a little different. I think that it's important that I put my own spin on it. Hers is a lot better constructed and a lot more flattering than mine is. Obviously, she's a designer. I am a potato. I think that's what I struggled with most with this project, was making this fit my damn body. Don't think I quite succeeded at that. I think it still looks like I'm wearing a trash can. Another thing I would have liked to improve, if I had an airbrush, I would have made the transition between book and dress a little bit better. So maybe do like a gold gradient, but that is on my list of future things to buy. So maybe I will revisit this in the future. You can also see where my corset straps are. Oops. The corset goes a bit above the dress, but you know. But yeah, the skirt I love. I think it's very princessy. Quite obviously my favorite part is the actual books. I had a ton of fun constructing these, painting these, figuring out the different themes for each book, and then of course getting the titles from you guys. Pretty much my favorite part of any cosplay project is painting it, so I just had the urge to make something more involved and more like a costume and more like a cosplay, because I do miss making cosplay armor. So in a way, this kind of is armor of knowledge. I hope that you guys had fun watching something a little bit different. Go check out the designer that inspired this. I am merely a store brand version of that. Moral of the story, if you feel like making something pretty, just go for it. And once again, thank you to Hunt a Killer for sponsoring this video. If you guys do want to get 20% off of your first order, make sure you go to Hunt a Killer and use my code RachelM. And that is it. I love you guys, whether you're new or old to this channel. If you're new here and you feel like sticking around, feel free to subscribe. I upload every Friday and we have fun here. And I will see you in my next video. Bye! The world of social media. Before we get started, I have the shut up.
Oh, we're good, sir.
I like to think of this dress as Belle getting a little bored during quarantine and using what's around her. Is pert the skirt shirts. Good enough for me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Look, a turtle.
What?
That's the sound turtles make.
Oh.